What is up, nerds? This is Crash here. I thought I would sit down and record a little video about Trainsawlaser, the history of it, why I made the changes that I did for each version, and all that stuff, because I realized a lot of people weren't there for the whole process of making it. We played it mostly on the Penny Arcade server. It's a public server, but I think it's a lot of the same people every weekend hopping on and playing, so a lot of people who are now playing Trainsawlaser have not seen the iterations that have come before what they are now playing. Anyway, this isn't Trainsawlaser. You may be asking yourself why the hell I am on this map. This was the original inspiration that made me want to make Trainsawlaser. This is a map called Windmilltrainsaw by the mapper Allie. I'll put a download link, or at least a link to her thread, in the description here. But this is actually where the name of Trainsawlaser is kind of inspired from. It's an homage to this map. We played this on our server, and everybody was having a lot of fun. It's really goofy, as you can see by the giant windmill with trains and saws on them. This is violent, and the control point is right inside here, with another saw, of course. Yeah, you die a lot on this map. But everybody was having a lot of fun, and people were dying left and right. And I thought, hey, I want to do one of this. Oh, yeah, this is also the inspiration for putting a spectator camera on something else that's moving. Yeah, it's really dizzying on this map because it's flipping upside down. But yeah, I decided that I wanted to be a sadistic mapper and do this to my own players. And Train God was awoken inside of me. This map is King of the Hill What? W-U-T. This is when Trainsawlaser was still a serious map. I didn't have an actual name for it yet. It was just temporary. It was really just for internal testing. I kind of ended up throwing a map name in and saying screw it. But you'll notice it's pretty familiar. This is the basic shell of what became Trainsawlaser. You'll see a lot of the buildings are very similar. You'll notice that the pits on the side aren't here yet, though. One big change is that the ceiling is much lower, and you can't actually get over buildings yet. That's kind of broken in actual normal TF2, but I decided later on to change that for Trainsawlaser. We'll get there. Anyway, you can see the map is very dark and gloomy. It didn't have any real proper lighting set up yet. I just sort of threw some lights around in the actual interior rooms, and the sky wasn't really set up right. It was casting weird shadows everywhere. Everything was super dim. Too high a walls, so there was no lighting getting down lower. But yeah, this is what a map starts off as. I actually pumped this out in, I think it was a night, maybe 2 nights, but like probably 90% of the work was done in the first night, and then the last 10% the next day was this, going back and forth and making me want to kill, because just doing stupid little things like this is such a pain in the ass in Source at times. The map was originally designed as an experiment in gameplay design. I was actually trying to make it a legitimate map. The water tunnels are here, which is kind of one of the things that breaks this map as a normal map anyway, so really it was doomed from the start. The only hazards in this map at this point are the laser going back and forth, and then the saw underwater that I just passed. One big thing too is there's super slow capture time. This got ramped up significantly in the later versions, and I think this was taken from Viaduct, so it's kind of designed for a bunch of people, but I wanted the trains to fall as often as possible in the later version, so this got sped up really quick. One thing that it did have is this camera. I love this camera. Like I said, I got the idea from Windmilltrainsaw and the rotating cameras. I got rid of this annoying sound, though. Wow, I forgot that was there. You'll see the health pack change, too. Anyway, yeah, this is the very first version of Trainsawlaser, and it gets a lot more fun from here. This is King of the Hill Trainsawlaser A1. Things start getting a little wackier at this point. This is the first release that I did publicly, and by publicly I mean I posted it on our forums, and we were only really playing it on our server. At any point, anyone could have downloaded the map from there or on our server and played it and put it on whatever server, anything like that, but it actually somehow managed to only stick to our server. The courtyards and the spawn courtyards got their trains in this version, and here it comes. You can see the saw, the laser, and the train. So the map earned its name, Trainsawlaser. Everything's still blocked up high. These are all blocked. There's no way to jump over from spawn. Still sort of a normal map with just a handful of hazards going around to be a jerk. The lighting still sucks because that's how I just did things then. But some of the health packs started shifting around a little bit. I added those in. And it's starting to look a little bit more like Trainsawlaser that you guys know. The cap time got sped up in this version, but it's still just god-awfully slow. And still nothing happens after the capture at this point. This is King of the Hill Trainsawlaser A2. This is the version that I submitted to the 2012 TF2 Maps April Fool's Game Day. So keep that in mind for something I'll mention later. They had a lot of fun on it. It seemed like everybody enjoyed it. It was pretty goofy. The big change in this version is that everything's accessible in the roof. I made it so you could sticky jump, and there's these saws going back and forth on the roof here, and the acid makes its first appearance. Holy crap! I almost died. Let me grab this health. The other couple big changes are these orange ramps got brought in, which are the demo charge ramps that are pretty much all exactly like this now in the next version. I think I got rid of these on both sides, but for the most part, it's all the same from how it used to be, or from how it is now. I mean, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Shut up. The electricity thing, whatever the hell this is, it looks like a laser, but it's not. It's electricity. That got added this version, and the huge change is the after capture train rain happens in this. There's almost no delay in this version. The trains just immediately come down, and you can hear the whistle from Foundry, I think it was, happens, and that's the only notification you get of the train rain. There's no train falling down the center when it's captured in this version. That's added a little bit later. Is there anything else? Oh, the sides now are opened up in this version. It's actually a death pit down here, and you know, there's no hole connected to the other side. It's just a death pit. This is a little bit too shallow, and people didn't really know it was death pit, and it was kind of a bad decision on my part. So I ended up changing it later. This is Trainsawlaser A3. I kind of mentally referred to this as the laser update because I decided that there needed to be a lot more lasers in the map to kill everybody. I put the spawn laser in, which is probably my favorite laser in the entire map. In these early versions, before I had any of the signs up, I like to talk people into jumping into this, claiming that it would give them a free Uber. A lot of people fell for it at the beginning, so I ended up writing those signs and putting them up on either side, say free Uber with the arrows. I added a lot more lasers in this version. These ones actually, this acts as a little step, so when you run into it, it actually steps you up and into the lasers. It's still like that in this latest version because I'm evil, and I love seeing people run into it. I run into it all the time. These are so close to it that there's not really much you can do. I think I might even yeah, see what right there. I did not mean to do that. I think I actually inched them a little bit closer too in later versions. What else did I add in this version? Oh yeah, the lasers in the back sides. Let me get back to. Whoops, yeah, that's a bug that I fixed. The lasers on either side of the control point here were added. It's a fun little toy for pyros and fan scouts. The saws, the horizontal saws, here were added in this version, which everybody runs into right away because it's so horizontal. You can't really see it at this. Like, you're not looking for a saw when you come up. It fits the line of the control point and everything else, and then suddenly there's a saw in your face. The pits over here are now acid pits, But it ended up being really stupid in this version too. There's no way to get out. So someone would get air blasted in or whatever, fall in, and then they were just stuck here. And they would slowly die. And it was really sad. And it wasn't any fun. All the other hazards, they just kill you right away. You know you're dead. You have time to respawn. It's sort of like extending the respawn time by just standing down there. Unless you're jumping class and get back out like I just did. This was actually one of the first versions that I mentioned wanting to add a kill counter in the map on the forums. And it took me a really long time to finally get that implemented. And we are at Trainsawlaser A5. In this version, I added all these signs that I found on the TF2 Maps site. Somebody made a ton of extra signs to throw around their map, and a lot of them applied to my map, I realized. So I decided to throw them all in. I ended up making everything a lot brighter. There's acid now on this roof here. This stops people from being able to just stand up here and camp, and it actually shoves you off if you try to stand on the edge. There's a little engineer nope that gets played too. I added the spontaneous combustion room in this version. It's probably not going to happen while I'm standing here because it's actually doesn't happen often enough in this version. I sped it up a lot, and then I think I had to tone it back down later. There's now a way out of the acid pits over here that takes you back a little bit further, so you're going to lose ground if that happens. Oh, this is going off. This is actually, it is the pyro flamethrower effect happening with the pyro crit sound. So it's just pyro flames falling down from you out of these rockets. Spawn time's a lot faster in this version than it was in previous versions. And the big thing...
We are captured the control point.
Oh yeah!
Train God has arrived. And also that. Yeah, so this is the update that added in the Train God voice lines and the center train falling. I sat down with a buddy of mine and we just sat there for like 2 hours recording him talking. If you haven't seen the video, go back on my videos and watch it, or listen to it, I should say. The gag reel is like the 2 hours condensed down all the funniest moments of it. I fixed a bug in this version where people would get stuck. I started to fix a bug, I should say. People were getting stuck in the ground. The trains would fall down, and you would just barely nick the edge of one, and it wouldn't kill you, but it would shove you into the ground, and you would be stuck there just helpless. So what I ended up doing was cutting a layer out underneath the ground and embedding a brush that kills you. It's the same trigger that's on the front of every train as it falls, embedded into the ground, so it still counts as a train kill. It shoves you down into it, and then that kills you instead of the train itself, which is failing to kill you. I fought this bug a lot from here on out. Everywhere a train falls would do it, and I think it's even still slightly possible in the next version, but I ended up just having to apply that fix to everywhere a train fell. Oh, and I should mention I skipped A4 because I ended up having a really stupid bug where you could get out of the map. Like I forgot to turn on my tool brushes, and I already kind of distributed it, so I figured it'd be easier just to scrap that version, rename it, and start over. Oh, and I suppose the other big change is I started detailing this map. You'll notice it's not the dev textures that it was and is. I sat down and looked at it and was just like, this doesn't look right. This doesn't feel like Trainsawlaser anymore once it's starting to get proper textures. So I ended up reverting for future versions. You can kind of see what I started to have in mind. Like the red side, I had like a little wooden shack feel over here, and I just didn't like it. So I said screw it and went back to dev textures. And now we are on Trainsawlaser A6. This version had a few issues, but you can see I started detailing. Red side's looking a lot more wooden. They're starting to get the beams. We're getting roof. We have the outside areas, displaced grounds and things like that. We've got all these beams and the roofs. The problem with this version is the reflections. I put a reflective material on a lot of the surfaces, trying to give it a more metallic look, and it did this. It's like a goddamn ice skating rink in here. This is what happens when you don't properly fully test a map before you release it. Whenever you make a map, you compile it, and then you have to build the cube maps, which builds all the reflections and bakes them right into the map. You do that at the end of the mapping process, and I did that and released it, and then joined a server and went, oh my god, what did I do? Yeah, so it's really disgusting. I fixed this for the next version, but I just feel bad looking at this, that I put anybody through this. I think I started dabbling with HDR lighting too, and it's just everything's too bright and washed out. It's ugly. The greens are all nasty. I put that tunnel here. Oh, those got added too. I forgot about that. The shark trains. And I put this tunnel here, and there's only a small health pack. I ended up making that, I believe, a full in the later versions to make it more worthwhile going down there. I got rid of all the detailing I did too in the last version. It's all dev textures again, and it's dev textures from here on out. And I reduced the trigger time for this happening because it was happening far too often. It was really, you couldn't play in this room at all. You couldn't set anything up. You couldn't do anything. Of course, it's not going to go off a single time now that I'm talking about how often it goes off. Screw you, rockets. But yeah, I started having a lot of people complaining that these were happening far too often, and I decided to fix it. Oh, I also added a shake effect in, I think, in this version. And I think that's about it for this version. Oh, one last thing for A6. I started putting these displacements in on blue side, and you can kind of see I was starting to get an idea for what I wanted to do. Everything started feeling a lot more open. I put these fences in, and you're getting a lot more light into the map now. But the train's now going into a little cliffy mountain face that eventually wraps around the whole backside of the blue building. And this is Trainsawlaser A7. This was a real small update. I ended up fixing the reflections for the most part. I think I missed this little edge here, but I fixed most of the reflections. I increased the time that it took for these to go off, so it wouldn't happen quite as often. I made the electricity, which just hit me, not strike as many spots as it was before, so it wouldn't hit people as often, even though it just hit me there. And this was a lot of optimization and little tweaks to the map. I decreased the file size. I got rid of some extra textures that didn't necessarily need to be in. And I think that was about it for this version. This is just sort of a optimization update. And we have finally hit Trainsawlaser Beta 1. This is the update that introduced the cult of the Train God. All the writing is finally in the map. When I switched to beta, it's shit's gotten real. So there's a huge update from the last version. There's a ton of new details. I've got my little credits signed in here that I noticed a lot of people don't read. Take time to read this. I took a lot of time writing this out. I got the free Uber signs in there, but they at least tell you that they lie after they kill you. The sacrifice counter has been introduced in this version. This was such a pain in the butt to set up. I used a prefab created by Washi Pato, I believe it's pronounced, but it still sucked to set up. The prefab was good. He did some awesome work. He or she, I suppose. They did a really good job with the counter, but it was still a pain in the butt to set up. It's going to be that way no matter what. It's source. That's how that works. My Flux Gibbon counter got introduced in this version. You'll notice the placement. There's 4 places on the sacrifices counter in this version that I reduced down to 3 for the next version because it was kind of disappointing. With 3 minutes for each side, you would maybe hit 100 if everyone was dying a lot. So I reduced it to 3 places, so it was getting a little bit closer to where it should be. Although I've been hearing now people are just playing straight deathmatch on this map, and I've seen this hit. It was somewhere around 2013 last night. I saw a group get it up to just not capturing the point and killing themselves repeatedly. All the graffiti got added to the map in this version. A ton of detailing. I spent a lot of time doing details. I love detailing red side. It's a lot more organic and just natural looking. Blue side I'm not the best with. I still need to work on that. I actually got drunk and wrote all these signs out one night. They were kind of a pain in the butt to get into the map, but they're a lot of fun. I like them. There's a lot of inside jokes and references to the community that's been playing it. This is actually a reference to someone who I made a video about before. If you look at Flippy is a Victim of Society, I believe the video is called on my playlist. He stands here a lot and snipes, so I did that. This all got opened up in this version too. You can now jump between here. Well, you could if you were skilled enough. You can jump between there, you can shoot between there, and all that. I put something blocking here for the next version because it was a little bit too open for snipers. So at least they have this lane, and then they get this lane. That's about the same thing, but at least they can't hide behind here. What else? Oh yeah, pumpkin bombs got added in this version. There's 20 of them total in the map. There were actually a lot more, but very last second before I compiled this version, I went through and deleted a ton because I realized the map became more about the pumpkin bombs than everything else. So I kind of strategically placed them so they would be useful in certain situations, but not always. This room was never used in the previous versions. There was nothing in it. It was just another path to get through down the center. And I filled it full of pumpkin bombs, and I realized that there was no reason to go in this room, so why would anybody risk it? So I put this full health and full ammo. This is a huge benefit to use. I use this a ton now. This room is constantly being used for me, at least. I don't know about everybody else. This version also saw proper HDR lighting and proper fancy shadows. It's kind of subtle, but you kind of see a map that has it and doesn't have it. Bunch of the health and ammo got switched around. I think I reduced some of the ammo packs just to reduce engineers, because fuck engineers. And I think that's about it for this version. The huge thing in this version is the details. I spent a lot of time doing all these details, and that's pretty much what you see for the current version. It's definitely Trainsawlaser at this point. And Trainsawlaser B2. This is the first version that I actually went out of my way to release on a larger scale publicly. I made a thread on TF2 Maps, and I submitted it to the 2013 April Fool's Game Day that they were hosting. So now we've come full circle. If you guys remember back in A2, that was the first version I did for 2012 April Fool's, and now this is the 2013 April Fool's Day. So you can see there's been a year time has passed that I've been kind of working on this map. I was working on it in between working on Stoneyridge and a couple other little mapping projects that I had, and then, you know, I work a full-time job and all that on top of it, so I was putting a lot of work into it, but it was probably 5-6 hours a week, I would say, between the two maps. You know, more at different times, but whatever. I ended up... Oh, yeah, one thing I was going to show is I added a detail in Blue's spawn room, which I was actually really proud of, that not a lot of people have noticed because nobody turns around. It's this little room over here. That's a huge detail. No one notices it. Anyway, I reduced the places of this so it's 3, and actually added one more to the Fucks Given counter. This updates in real time, by the way. This is the version that the map blew up on. I was not expecting it to get as popular as it did, and it kind of just exploded overnight. I waited a few weeks before I posted on Reddit my own thread, just showing off the map, just talking about it a little bit, saying where it came from, that sort of thing. And it got a little bit of attention. A handful of servers picked it up, but it wasn't much. But what really made it take off was Sal, Salamancer, or whatever he calls himself. I'll put a link to his YouTube page down below in the description. But he did a little commentary over it, and that's the point that it blew up. That got #1 on Reddit's TF2 subreddit, and now last time I checked, there was, you know, like 260 some plays. Or somewhere around there on this version itself. Yeah, that's nuts. I've got people coming up to me and like just flattering the hell out of me, telling me how awesome my map is. I've never had that before with any other map I've made. But one of the problems. Oh god damn it! I ran into the train shark. This version also introduced a really big problem. When you detail, you have to be really careful not to break your map, and I broke the hell out of it. If you're still playing B2, this is a thing that you can do in B2. Yeah. So now I'm out of the map. I'm not taking damage from the acid because the kill or the hurt trigger is only over there. And I can get completely out of the map and go all around and rain pipes or whatever I want into it. It was really stupid. I am ashamed that this got through in this version. I'm a better mapper than that. Now I'm gonna get stuck. Anyway, yeah. Before it blew up on Reddit, I think we had about 20 plays on this map. It had been out for like a week or two, and a few days later, it was easily 200. So that's just nuts. That's like the whole reason I'm making this. Is I got a ton more people subscribing to my YouTube. So hi to all you people. I apologize if this video is running long. Oh yeah, I put this window in with this version. I'm kind of rambling at this point. I'm just gonna say screw it now. Oh, cover. This cover got added. This was a big change that I should have did a long time ago. Yeah, this is B2. This is the version probably the majority of you have played at this point. And we have hit Trainsawlaser B3. This is the current map that I just released a couple days ago. This fixes the stupid bug with these things and a couple other little exploits. This is mostly a bug fix change, but I also added a couple new features. The train rain falls every 90 seconds or so, unless the point is attempted to be captured or is captured, then it resets that timer. I did this for the deathmatch servers that aren't seeing train rain at all because the control point isn't being used. I also did this for any stalemates or anything like that. If people are just camping the center, I want them to get hit by a train a couple times. I found a missing audio line that I ended up tossing back in, and I actually also added two new lines from the commentator Sal as sort of a thanks for helping me get the map out there. It's just two lines that are going to be kind of rare to pop up, but when they do, hopefully you guys will find them funny. Note, though, that because he is just a mere mortal, he cannot actually summon the train rain, but he is allowed to comment on a good hit by the trains, so you'll see when those happen. Again, thanks everybody for playing my map. I really appreciate the support you guys have given me about it and all the kind words I've heard. I really haven't gotten much bad feedback. I apologize if this video ran way too long, because I imagine I'm rambling quite a bit. But a few people have asked me about the history of it and, you know, just some of my design decisions, and hopefully I cleared some of that up a little bit. So thanks for watching, thanks for playing, all that. I'll end this with a little bit of train rain.
We have secured the control point.